Perek Chafhei Gam Ele Mishlei Shlomo Asher Hatiku Anshe Chizkiah Melech Yehuda. So we begin the 25th chapter, and we're told that these two, presumably from chapter 25 to the end of the book, are also the Proverbs of Solomon. Perhaps they weren't public, perhaps they were published, whatever that means, and obviously a pre-publishing world. They weren't disseminated publicly. It was a couple of hundred years later until the descendant of David and Shlomo, of course, Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda, that his men copied them and spread them out. Chizkiyahu, one of the great kings of our history, stands firm in the face of the great ruler Sancherib, the Assyrian kings, in a siege of Jerusalem, lives a great revival towards Judaism, towards Torah, greatest observance of Pesach in a long time during his age. There were even people from the northern kingdom who would come down. And so it's not a surprise that he would want more of the wisdom of Shlomo, more of the great books of Shlomo to be disseminated amongst the other Jews. Let's see what he says. Kvod Elohim aster davar, uchvod melachim chakor davar. It's the glory of God to conceal a matter, and the glory of king to plumb a matter, right? So God hides sometimes his messages, his ideas, but a king, and whether the king is Shlomo, whether the king here is Chizkiah, perhaps commenting on what was done earlier by Shlomo, either way, the king is able. The king, we should be looking into it. Shamayim larum va'aretz la'omek v'leiv melachim ein cheker. Like the heavens in their height, like the earth in its depth, is the mind of the kings unfathomable, right? So we have to, Jacques Cousteau didn't say the oceans are too deep, and the founders of NASA and all these people who want to go. Nobody's saying it's too far away. This is not something that we should know. We need to know it. We need to try to look and understand God's world better. Hago sigib mi kesef yetzela soref Kelly. The dross has been separated from the silver. A vessel emerged for the smith, right? They're there for us to look into. They're there for us to try to understand what they are. Hago rasha lifnei melech v'yikol b'tzedek kiso. Remove the wicked from the king's presence, and his throne will be established in justice. Here, you could say the last verse has a similar idea, right? We're removing the dross from the silver, and then the vessel emerges. Remove the wicked, and the king's presence will be established. It will be perfect. Al titadar lifnei melech, verse 6, pasuk vav, uv'mkom gedolim al tamo. Don't exalt yourself in the king's presence. Don't stand in the place of nobles. Know who you are, where you are. Be careful. Don't overstep. Kitov amarlach alei heina. May hashpilech lifnei nadiv, mashpilchan lifnei nadiv asher ra'u einecha. It's better to be told, step up here. You're not in 50th place, you're in 35th place, than to be told, oh, you're not in 10th place, you're in 35th place. Right? It's better to be told to step up than to be degraded. Right? You don't want to see this. You don't want your eyes to see this, the embarrassment, the shame. Al teitzei lariv maher pen mata sebach rita balchim otcha reacha. So be careful when it comes to fighting. Think of what's going to happen in the end when your fellow puts you to shame, right? Don't get involved in a fight. This is something that he said a number of times. Stay out of fights. Stay out of the scoffer and the fool are the ones who get involved in fights, not the person with chokhmah and bina. Rivcha rivet reachu sod acher al tigal. Defend your right against your fellow, but do not give away the secrets of another, right? Defend yourself if you need to. Be strong, but don't destroy another person's. Don't ruin or take another person's confidence. Pen yichasedcha shomea v'dibatcha lo tashuv. Because if your friend hears you're revealing his secrets, he's going to come and he's going to give it to you. And right, your reputation may never be the same. Continuing pasuk Yud Aleph. Tapuchei zahav bemaskiot kasef. Davar davur al ofnav. So like a tapuach zahav, like a golden apple in a beautiful silver showpiece, right? Is like a good phrase, is a good turn of phrase, is a good right. If you say something really smart and really wise, then it's like a golden apple in a silver showpiece. Nezem zahav v'chalikotem. Mochiach chacham al ozen shomat. Like a ring of gold, like a golden ornament, is a wise man's reproof in an ear when the person is ready to hear it. So you can give, it's mitzvah in the Torah actually, give tochacha. If you see somebody who's doing something wrong against the mitzvah, you're supposed to rebuke them. You're supposed to tell them. Now, the rabbis already say we don't know how to rebuke properly. There's only, I think it was Rabbi Akiva in his generation who was the last one who knew how to rebuke others. So you have to be very careful. It's only a wise man who can have his rebuke in a receptive ear. Like the cold of snow at harvest time is a trusty messenger to those who sent him. He lifts his master's spirit. So I don't know the weather these days. I don't know if we can anymore say like the coldness of snow at harvest time. Who knows when it's going to get cold? Who knows when it's going to get warm? Like clouds, like wind without rain, is one who boasts of gifts not given. So somebody with a big mouth doesn't get it done. They're like, you see the clouds, but there's no water, and we're still hungry, and the crops are not going to grow. But Orech, we're in verse 15, Pasuk Terfav. But Orech apayim yifutek katzin lashon raka tishbor garem. Through forbearance, being slow to anger, a ruler may be won over. A gentle tongue can break bones. Kill them with kindness, right? Devash matzata echol dayeka pen tisbaenu vehaketo. If you find honey, eat only what you need, right? Because if you fill yourself too much, you're going to throw it up, right? So this is literally talking about honey. Is it talking about something that's sweet, right? Be careful with something that's sweet. You can get too far with it and go in the wrong way. Visit your neighbor sparingly, lest you have, he's had enough of you and he loathes you, right? He'll be sovea. He's already full of you and he's just going to hate you. Be careful. Don't overstep your bounds. Earlier we said, right? Don't put yourself in a position of great glory only to be told, nah, you're in place 35, not in place 12. And here too, don't overstep your bounds. Mefitz vacherev v'chetz shanun. Ish onev reu eit shaker. Like a club, like a sword, like a sharp arrow is a man who testifies falsely against his fellow. It's a person he's a weapon, and he's a weaponized testimony. Shein ro'ah mu'edet miftach boged biyom sarah. Like a loose tooth, like a limping leg is treachery, right? In the time of trouble, right? This person's supposed to be your friend. There's other person's supposed to be honest and look at the way they're acting. Ma'adeh beged biyom kara chometz al netar v'sar bashirim alev ra. Disrobing on a chilly day like vinegar on natron is one who sings songs to a sorrowful soul, right? Imra ra'ev sonacha hachileu lachem. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. If he's thirsty, give him water to drink. Again, kill him through kindness. Be kind, be decent to him. I know he's the one who hates you, but feed him bread. Maybe he won't hate you anymore. Give him to drink. Maybe he won't hate you anymore. You will be heaping live coals on his head, and the Lord will be be thankful of you for doing so. I think here the image sounds like he's going to take vengeance upon you, but presumably what it means is by this heaping live coals is perhaps you're lighting back up his life. You're giving him back the energy that he needs. Right? It's like you're scooping up from the fire and helping him, and God will reward you for that, for making peace with this enemy of yours. We're in Pasuk Chaf Gimel, verse 33. Ruach Tzafon techolel gashem ufanim nizamim lishon sater. A north wind produces rain, and whispered words a glowering face. Tov shevet al pinat gag me'eshet midyanim uveit chaver. Dwelling in the corner of roof is better than a contentious woman in a spacious house. We had that phrase a number of chapters back. Peace by yourself is better than all fighting and contention. Mayim karim al nefesh ayefa u'shmu'a tova me'eretz merchak. Like cold water to a parched throat is good news from a distant land, perhaps something unexpected. The throat is parched, and good news not from close, but from a distant land. Ma'ayan near Pas. Umakor moshchat tzadik mat lifnei rasha. Like a muddied spring, like a ruined fountain, is a righteous man fallen before a wicked one. Right, so there's not the way it should be. It shouldn't be a muddied spring and a ruined fountain. The wicked one should fall, not the righteous. Achol dvash harbot lo tov v'cheker kvodam kavod. It's not good to eat much honey, nor is it honorable to search for honor. So here again, the dvash, the rabbis here try to say they're talking about the secrets, what we would call the Kabbalah of Torah. But to me, this chapter's a lot about not overstepping your bounds. Don't go over to your neighbor too much. Don't go to the place you're not supposed to. Don't eat too much honey. You need to be careful about the way that you act in overstepping your bounds, and having too much is going to cause you problems. Last verse 28, Pasuk Chavchet, Ir prutza ein choma, ish asher ein matzar lerucho. Like an open city without walls is a man whose temper is uncurbed. You never know when it's going to explode. You never know when somebody is going to come in and take advantage of your city. So here, right, it ends in a slightly different way, but here we see some of the verses. One verse specifically, we had in earlier chapter. Obviously, some of the themes that are similar. To me, this chapter a lot about overstepping your bounds and the importance of using kindness as a way of dealing with your enemies, dealing with the king, winning over people. And you could say the honey there, right? When you get more bees with honey than vinegar, or whatever the phrase might be. And I can't get it ever right. And only heard the first time, as I can remember, in my 40s. If I would have heard it when I was 7, maybe I'd remember it properly. But even the honey, maybe a little too much honey is not good, right? You don't be that naive fool who is being too kind to people who are vicious. So words here, and perhaps the most interesting thing about this chapter is the biographical data in the beginning, the idea of Chizkiyahu coming and releasing some of the, publicizing some of the things that his great-great-great-great-grandfather, whatever, more generations than that, Shlomo, had stated, and perhaps nobody knew about them. There were other ones that they knew, but here we have more wisdom from Shlomo, which the last chapter is the most well-known of all of the chapters, and we will see that in a few days. We're not there quite yet.